So, Dad, I'm excited to be here with you today to talk a little bit about government because you've lived in several different countries, you've traveled a lot, you've lived, and you know what it's like to live under different kinds of government, democracy, capitalism, dictatorship. Until you were 18, you lived in a country that was socialist. You lived under a socialist government. So I'm curious to know, what was that like for you growing up in a socialist country? What did daily life look like?
Well, first of all, in the socialist government, the government controls everything, right? So the government control our food, control our electricity, water, absolutely everything. So staying in line to stores was a daily thing. Like people would have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to go and stay in line for milk. If you went to 6, it would be too late. So for my family, they decided we don't like milk. We don't want to wake up that early, so we don't like milk. Meat, you will stay in line for meat. So I'll tell you a story. Me and my friends one day, we will decided, hey, let's just sit in a line to the meat place and see what happens. So we were like 5, 6 of us, and we sat in line. Within 10 minutes, there were probably 100 people gathered in line because they thought that the meat is coming. After half an hour, we told them, hey, we just joke, this was just a prank, there is no meat coming, so just go home. People did not believe us, and they ended up staying in line for like 2 days until the milk came. So the government controlled everything with the food, and because there was no private sector. Mm-hmm. Everything belonged to the government. So the government had to sell absolutely everything, good produce and bad produce. So by them controlling the food and not putting a lot of food in there, people had to buy whatever was there. If it was pig fat, you buy it. If it was pig, nice piece of meat, you will buy it. So you had to buy everything because there was not a lot. The government started to control the housing, mm-hmm. right? They will tear down houses and build these big apartment complexes, like 4-story high, 10-story high, because they thought it would be easy to control the people. Mm-hmm. They will bring hot water to those places, they will bring cold water, electricity to those places, but they will control how much we will use. So you will hear during the day somebody saying, hey, the water came back. So all the ladies will run to go and wash dishes. Or you'll hear somebody saying, hey, there is hot water. Kids will drop balls, will just run home to be able to take a shower. So, and the socialist government control absolutely everything, even my hair. You know, when I was 14, my hair started to get curly and start to darken up. Mm-hmm. And my teachers were like, oh, you have fancy hair. And they start to persecute me so much because of that, because everybody had to have straight hair and same haircut in there. So government controls.
So when the government's controlling everything like that, doesn't that give you a reason to complain?
Well, you can't. Let me explain you how it works to see why you cannot complain. For instance, if my family went to complain to the school director about the way how they treat me, the school director is a direct representative of the government, right? So you cannot fight with the school director because basically you fight with the government. Now, let's take that school director, and if she goes to the hospital, she cannot complain against the hospital, mm-hmm. because the director of the hospital is directly the school government representative, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the director of the hospital, if he goes to the marketplace and say, hey, I don't like this food, it's not good, it's bad, he basically complains again against the government. So when you have a good job, like a director of the hospital, you don't want to complain about absolutely anything because they're going to take your job away. So people were afraid, not that they will take your job away. They will take that job of the director, but they will probably give you the job of the cleaning people in the hospital. So people were afraid to complain about a lot of those things because every time you complain about something, you complain about the government.
Right.
If you went to complain to the mayor office was directly led by the top government officials. So everybody, when people start to complain, they'll consider like dangerous people. So watch out for those people. They are complaining too much.
Mm-hmm. So now, if the government controlled housing, utilities, school, everything, I'm assuming they controlled religion as well?
Oh, absolutely. You know, the church is a powerful group of people.
Mm-hmm.
The church, people in the church are smarter because they read the Bible, they are enlightened by God, by the Holy Spirit. So the government always knew that the church is a threat for them. And they start to put a lot of pressure upon priests, upon preachers, good pastors. The ones that were really dedicated to the Lord and preached the gospel, they ended up in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then the government, what they did, they will replace those good pastors, good preachers with government officials. So technically they are pastors and preachers in the church, but they will always report to the government what was done in the church, what was said in the church. So confession was highly promoted into the church.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because people will come to confess to the pastors, to the priest, and then basically they confess to the government what they have done wrong. So if somebody stole from the government and felt bad and say, look, I'm so sorry, I stole from there. Next thing, the government will knock to their door and will take them away and put them in jail. Why? Because they told the priest that they stole something, and now the priest, being led by the government and being under the government, they ended up doing that. Bible was a threat. You could not read the Bible. You could not have the Bible. One time my family, I remember they had a Bible and they were trying to just keep it covered and not allow me to know what's going on because they were afraid that somehow I will tell my friends outside of the house that we have a Bible in the house and we could go in prison because of that. So Bible was not allowed. Church people were always a threat. Government knew that.
Mm-hmm. Now, what good things came out of socialism, if any, and what were some of the negative things in addition to it being so controlling?
Let's see, good things out of the bad things. There are a lot of bad things about socialism, right? I mean, they control the people. They did not let the people to be free. They took their houses away. It's a lot of bad things.
Right.
You can put a long list of bad things about socialism. Good things about socialism. Everybody had a job. Even inmates. I never knew what the word unemployment was during the socialism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had a job, even inmates. As a matter of fact, they went even to the other extreme. If you don't want to work, you go to jail, and you are working in jail no matter what. So
right.
people ended up having to go to work. The bad part about that thing was people will not work. You know, I get paid no matter what, so they didn't work
Sure.
that hard. Another good thing about socialism was the healthcare. You know, everybody, if you got sick, you could go to a doctor. Mm-hmm. Good, bad, you had somebody to treat you. You had somebody to give you some medicine. So that was a good thing. Everybody had a house. Mm-hmm. Okay, you did not have to worry about being homeless. Everybody had a house in the socialism. They will take, if you have a big home with a nice garden, they will take it away from you And they, on the same spot of 2 or 3 houses, they will build a big apartment complex and put in that same spot where 3 people live or 3 families lived before. Now they were 30 families. So it was bad that they took your houses away. The good part was everybody had a house in socialism. And another good thing is leadership. You need leadership into the world. And socialism does have leadership. Dictatorship has leadership. Some people are very good about knowing what to do, but other people need to be told what to do because they don't know what to do and they are lost into this world, and somebody needs to lead and guide them. So socialism does have very good leadership.
So when you take what's good about socialism and what's bad, and you try to put them in the balance, can you say it works? Does socialism work as a government form?
No, socialism does not work as a government form. Everybody is equal in socialism, within plus minus 100%, let's say, right? My family had a salary of, let's say, $3,500.
Okay.
And the maximum salary in the city, no matter that you are mayor or no matter what, the maximum salary was probably $7,000, right? So when everybody is equal like that, it does not work. Because people will think this way: why should I work harder? Why should I think smarter? Because I get paid the same way like the other guy.
Right.
In socialism, everybody thinks that they work hard. Why is that? Because the laziest guy, from 8 hours of work, the laziest guy is saying, I don't want to work, the government pays me no matter what, so why should I work? So he works 1 hour, right? Well, the one that was a little bit more conscious about working, he thinks, well, I need to put a little bit more effort, not be lazy. So he works 4 hours, right? And the very hard working one, he's going to work, let's say, 6 hours, right? But there are still 2 hours that you did not work for. But basically, if you work 6 hours, you think that you work so hard. The hardest I worked, it was probably 3 hours. Okay, so there you go. So it does not work because of that. And socialism, a lot of people steal, right? Why? Because they think, I don't steal from you or from him. I take away from the government.
Right.
It's ours no matter what. So a lot of people steal in socialism. It's no creativity because. There's no reward for that. So
Right.
I will tell you that socialism does not work.
So then what does work? What government form would work?
Well, a lot of people, if socialism doesn't work, then they will tell you, oh, capitalism works, or social democracy. Lately, people are going with that. Social democracy, that works. I'll explain it to you another time that does not work here either. And the reason why socialism doesn't work, and the reason why any form of government today does not work. In the whole world, you cannot find a government that works. And why is that? Because it's no theocracy.
Right.
Okay. Now, when I say theocracy, what would you say? It's church should lead or state should lead, right? A lot of people are going in that, and I'm not referring to
the church leading.
The church leading. Why? Because during the history, we saw when the church was leading the state and was a complete disaster.
Yes.
When I'm talking about theocracy as a form of government, I'm talking about God leading my life, God leading your life, God leading his and her life, right? That's what I'm talking about. God being in control of my family, God being in control of his family and their family right there. So when God is in control of our life, it works. The Bible says, blessed is the nation that God is the Lord, leads that nation, right? When we are under God's leadership, I do the right thing You do the right thing. So now we have leadership, right? We saw that leadership was very important but we have leadership. There is no man, there is no government that can lead the whole world. It's not, okay? But God can do that into a perfect way. So theocracy, I think it's the way how to lead the world. When God is in control of my life, your life, and then we form the government, God is in control of that government. Israel, it's a very good example. Israel was under God's leadership, under God's control. And one day they said, we want to be like the rest of the world. We want to have a king. They want to have a monarchy. We can talk another day about, will presidents work? Well, if they were kings before and didn't work, and why presidents don't work today. They said, we want to be like the rest of the world. We want to have a king to lead us. And God gave them the best king, the tallest amongst all of them, the strongest amongst all of them. But God told them, this king, we're going to take for himself, we're going to take for his family, we're going to take for his army, for his people that is around them, and you will be slaves to this king. That's exactly what happens today. The people are slaves to the government, right? To the socialist, we were slaves to the socialist government. So if you take God out of the equation, it does not work. If you put God into the equation, things are totally different.